Hello, so today's video is on order of operations. We use order of operations when we are simplifying an expression or working with an equation. It just tells us how do we even go about simplifying it. So in order to do this, we can use an acronym called PEMDAS. So PEMDAS, again, is an acronym and it tells us the order in which we want to go about simplifying an expression or part of an equation. We work from the top down. So we're going to start, you want to start looking at the top, work your way down. Stick with me, this will make sense. So starting with P, the P stands for parentheses. So first thing you do is you check, does my whatever you want to simplify have parentheses? If it does, then you want to start by looking at what's inside those parentheses and solving what's in those. E is for exponents. So after you check, okay, are there parentheses? And you work with the parentheses. Then you want to check, are there exponents involved? If there are exponents, then work with those. Okay, then I'm going to go here. Multiplication, division. These are kind of interchangeable. So what I would say is work left to right if there's both. Doesn't really matter the direct order, but if there's like two next to each other, work from left to right, kind of like you're reading a book. So next you kind of see, is there any multiplication or division? And lastly, we're going to kind of combine those two as well. Is there any addition or subtraction? So again, if there's both right next to each other, I would say work left to right. So kind of read an equation or expression like you're reading a text. All right, so that is PEMDAS. So that is what we are going to want to remember when looking at expressions or equations when we're solving. So we're going to be looking at expressions. So here are 5. I'm going to remind us, we're looking at PEMDAS. Okay, take a minute, pause the video, go through these 5 examples, see if you can properly simplify these expressions. Again, first you want to look for parentheses, then exponents, so on and so forth. So you want to read PEMDAS that way. All right, go ahead. All right, hopefully you paused that video. You had some time to go through it. Now I guess we will go through these basic examples together. So let's start with number 1. First things first. Okay, we're going to look at this PEMDAS. Okay, first, are there any parentheses in this? This one here? No. Okay. Are there any exponents? None of that. Is there any multiplication or division? Yes, there is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with that. 3 times 2 is 6. 8 plus 6, well, that's just 14. Okay, notice if you just did it this way, you would have done, if you did this first, 8 plus 3 is 11, times 2 is 22. That's not the answer we get. So super important, you want to start with that multiplication, then again, addition, subtraction, that's your last step. So do that addition last. All right, problem 2. First off, do we have parentheses? Yes, we do, right there. So let's look inside of those parentheses. When you look inside of the parentheses, you kind of want to start PEMDAS over again. So sometimes there's multiple pieces within the parentheses. Here it makes it a little easier because we just have addition. So we can just solve that. 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 times 4 is 32. All right, not too bad for the first ones. Here we go again. Next, no parentheses there. I'm not seeing any exponents. I'm seeing division. That's going to be the first thing I see. So 16 divided by 4 is 4. And we're just going to carry down this plus 6 is 10. All right, those were basic. Now these are getting a little bit more tricky, but still not too bad. So I'm going to remind us here of our PEMDAS. Okay, so first things first, parentheses. I do see some parentheses there. So 3 plus 2 is 5. Okay, then everything else we're going to carry down. So I'm going to carry down this 12 minus. I'm going to carry down the times 2. Okay, now we're going to start PEMDAS over again. So we're done with parentheses. No exponents. I do have multiplication. Okay, 5 times 2 is 10. Everything else we're going to carry down. 12 minus 10, 2. And last but not least. All right, not seeing any parentheses. First step, exponents. We do have an exponent there. 2 to the third power, 2 cubed. Let's have a little reminder. A number to a power means you just multiply that number over and over again. So we're multiplying 2 3 times. So 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 cubed is 8. Okay, everything else we're going to carry down. Again, let's go back to our PEMDAS. So now I'm seeing multiplication. 4 times 3 is 12. And 8 plus 12 is 20. All right, not too bad. Pretty simple example. So hopefully you were able to get these down. And now we're going to move on to a little bit more advanced examples. So go ahead, pause this video and give these a try. All right, let's go through these. Hopefully you paused it, you had time to do them. So still giving ourselves that reminder. Parentheses are first, right? P, PEMDAS. Parentheses right there. So 7 plus 5 is 12. We're just going to carry everything else straight down as is. Then we have, okay, so we have division and addition. Which one comes first? Well, here those two are. We see division is first. So 12 divided by 3 is 4, plus 6 is 10. Okay, not too bad. Next one, all right. See a couple different things here. Let's start with these parentheses though. Parentheses are always going to be first, and we just have addition inside of those, so we can add those. I'm going to carry everything else down. All right, so this is where things might get a little bit confusing. We have division and we have multiplication. Technically, multiplication comes before division in this acronym, but remember what I said before, we kind of group these two sections together. So if we just have multiplication and division together, which we do in this case, we are going to work from left to right when solving. So that means we are going to do this first. So again, because we have just division and multiplication, and kind of in our order of operations, those are kind of equals, we're just going to work from left to right. So 18 divided by 3, 6 times 3 is 18. All right. Problem 3. First thing I see are parentheses. Okay, 6 plus 4 is 10. Okay, then let's go back through our order. Next, I'm seeing an exponent. 5 squared. Remember, that's just 5 times 5. All right, we have subtraction. We have division. That division is going to come first. 25 minus 5 is just going to get us 20. All right, 2 more. Here, okay, let's write out PEMDAS again. Here we have 2 sets of parentheses. So what do you think we'd do in this case? Well, we're just going to okay, well, they're both separate, right? We have this and we have this, and they're separated by a multiplication symbol. So we're just going to kind of work on both of these separate. So let's start with this second one. It's a little bit less complicated. 8 divided by 4. Okay, that's just 2. Let's take a look at the second one though. So remember I say, okay, let's look inside those parentheses. And when you're looking inside those parentheses, check your PEMDAS again. Okay, well in here I'm seeing addition, but I also have an exponent. We have exponent, we have addition. Let's start with that exponent. So we're actually just going to start by looking at this piece right there. So 2 to the power of 2. 2 squared is 4, right? That's just 2 times 2. Now, we still just have these basic parentheses. 4 plus 3 is 7 times 2. 14. Okay, so sometimes you're going to have things. You're going to have like an exponent, or you might have something longer inside the parentheses where there's multiplication and division and addition, you know? So really be careful when you're looking inside of those. All right, and our last one. So this one's probably the most complicated one. I'm seeing a lot of different things. I see subtraction. I see these brackets here. Okay, brackets are kind of the same thing. We're going to treat them as parentheses. Okay, I see division. I see another set of parentheses. I see an exponent. So we are kind of all over the place right now. But I see a big set of brackets. That's going to be kind of like this starting P. That's what I'm going to want to start with. So we're going to start here. Okay, then when I know where I'm starting, now we have to zoom in on what's inside of those. So zoom in. Okay, when I'm zooming in, I see we have division and I have another set of parentheses. So I'm going to kind of write this to the side. This is the section that we're kind of like zooming in on, right? That's what's inside of those brackets. If we were just solving this using PEMDAS, well, we would start with the parentheses and say, well, 2 plus 1 is 3, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. That, too, is what this simplifies to. Now, remember, that's just what this simplified to. Technically, we still have those brackets there, and we have this second power still, so don't forget about that exponent. Okay, then we can say, okay, well, we have an exponent and we have subtraction. Obviously, that exponent's going to come first, so 2 squared is 4, 10 minus 4 is 6. All right, how'd you do? Hopefully all right. I might do another video on some more examples of this, so in case you need some more practice. Other than that, thanks for watching.